to Freed on Business. He grew up in South Florida, has been in business here since the early 90s, and has closed over $3 billion in deals. He's seen it all. He always has an opinion, and he's always ready to share it. Informed, entertaining, and connected, he has his finger on the pulse of South Florida's business community. He's Jim Freed, and this is Freed on Business.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Freed on Business. People go to me, Jim Freed, why are you smiling? It's because I'm absolutely white hot. We've got our show today on residential mortgages with our residential mortgage expert, my partner, Ed Cairo from American Home Finance. We're going to talk about helping people weather the economic storm, help them pull money out of their house in a variety of different ways. It's going to be great. It's episode 751. How could I forget? Last week was episode 750. As always, I want to thank our good friends from Warren Henry Automotive. I want to thank Larry Zinn and his team over there, Eric Day, Ismet Yagzi, Maytal Stark, Jack, Gio, all my friends. We're getting ready to get a new car for my mom. So we're going to be heading over to Warren Henry in the next couple of weeks to finalize all that. But remember, they're all over the state. They give great deals on automobiles. They've got all kinds of great cars. So give them a call, reach out to my good friends at Warren Henry Automotive. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry. And now on with the show. Where is our guest today? Ed Cairo. There he is. Hey, Ed, how you doing?
Hi, Jim. How are you?
Oh, I'm pleased, Ed. We're working on all these loans from the major big reverse jumbos up to $400,000. Up to $4 million to getting the HELOCs done in under a week for the people that really need the money, to talking to folks about the rehab and redevelopment loans of their RESPA protected, the homes they live in as the homestead. It's been just absolutely amazing since the turn of the year, Ed. So welcome to this show. I gave everybody the heads up on what we're going to talk about. How was your holiday?
My holiday was great. My kids were in town, and we had a nice family get together. It was fantastic. Ready to get back to work, but that was really nice.
Well, listen, I'm really glad to be working with you and the Mortgage Brothers on the loans for my friends and contacts. Let's get right to it. We just closed a HELOC. Let's talk about what a HELOC was, why it made sense for our borrower, a real estate developer, and why we're working on some more for people that are doing things like consolidating their credit cards.
Yeah, well, that particular one was $400,000, and this particular gentleman had gone to 2 or 3 retail banks, which is always an issue. Took very many months that they couldn't get it done, and once they called us, we actually got them approved in 3 days. They were closed in 5. And we got them $400,000, which he needed for some sort of repairs on his property. That particular property was worth, if I remember correctly, right around $6 or $7 million. And he needed to do some necessary repairs, so it was a great little deal for us to get done for him. We're very, very happy people.
Now, how about, a little while back, we did a loan for a couple where we consolidated their credit cards. People call me and they go, Jim, I want to do the HELOC loan, but I want to consolidate my credit cards first. That's not the right approach, is it? And why?
No, it's not. And the thing is, the one thing about a HELOC is that you have to have the income to qualify for your first mortgage along with whatever it is that would put on the equity line. So if you can do that, these credit cards are averaging between 22 and 24% nowadays. It's a lot higher than it's ever been. And, these equity lines come in the 10% range, right in that range. And people get a little nervous about that. But when you think about a 24% credit card, that'll double every 2.5 years. So that's the key. That's getting away from credit card debt is really what people need to do, especially in these times. So the last one we just completed, I had $100,000 in credit cards. So do the math. Figure out what that was costing them a month. Yeah.
That's $24,000 a year?
Exactly. I would say. Yep. And so we're able to take care of that for him, and extremely happy. And we're very, very busy right now with these equity lines because a lot of people are trying to get into them before the first of the year, the beginning of the year anyway, before they start doing their tax returns. A lot of people didn't make as much money, let's say, in 2023 as they did in 2022. So that'll count, later. So before they do the tax returns, a lot of people are doing these lines of credit so they can secure them and have the cash needed for the future.
Well, you didn't say it directly, so let me clarify. If somebody has declining income on a year-to-year basis, they become disqualified.
Yes.
So the minute that they file their extension, it becomes official. The bank starts asking for it. They're going to get disqualified. So they have to act now.
That's exactly right. I was saying that in a nice way, but that's exactly what it is, because there is declining income with a lot of clients that we're noticing, and it's important that they do these quickly.
Now, one thing is that we always give service. We treat people kindly and respectfully. I know that may seem redundant and ridiculous to say, but it's extraordinarily important, especially when somebody's having a little bit of financial issues. We are very courteous about that. And the reality is that one of the requirements for the license we hold to do this is that we have to really think like a person's financial advisor. I have people that call me, and I had a call this week. The person had no ability to do a loan. They were up against it and they wanted to borrow more money. And I told them literally that the best option for them would be just sell the house, don't do this, and start again. The person resisted, but there was nothing I could do. And I said, look, I'm not trying to sell your house. I'm not a realtor. I'm just trying to tell you that you're not going to qualify for this. And if you really need the money, this is the way you should go. And the person was reluctant because it was for their child's college fund. But at a certain point, you have to make decisions.
Yes. And that's a very difficult decision for a lot of people to make. And, the other part of it is that not everybody is a financial minded person. And then in a lot of cases, they don't really understand what we know. So it's a matter of digging into their finances. And truly, like you said, we're licensed to do this, and we can analyze their financial plan, so to speak, and then advise them accordingly. And there are a lot of times that it's time that they have to either sell the property. I mean, they might be a little bit over their head, and they, are not going to be able to get out of it, because you still have to qualify. That's the thing. You truly have to qualify for these equity lines. So you have to have the income in order to do it.
Now, I was talking to another friend of mine. They have a beautiful $2 million home. They have a great 3% plus 3% mortgage, and they can't move because then they'd have a brand new mortgage, which, by the way, if the mortgage is clean and easy, it's got a 6 handle on it. So it's not really that bad. But this gentleman would rather rehab and rebuild and redevelop his home and stay there instead. What kind of products do you have available for something like that, Eddie?
Well, depending on how extensive the work is going to be done. I mean, one of the things that they can do is this equity line, because they can pull out the cash to be able to do whatever it is they need. But we also have some rehab loans that are available to people. They have to have good credit and they have to have good income and all those things. But we can do a modified construction loan, so to speak, to do the repairs. And what will happen is the lender will give them the after repair value of the property. Meaning that, once they look at the plans and they realize what they're actually going to do, they use that as the basis, and then they'll give them draws as different things get done, and they can do it that way. So that's another possibility for people. There's not a ton of them out there, but there certainly are lenders that will do that.
And then, Ed, we've talked in the past, and we've worked with a couple of my friends and their parents. And in fact, now a couple of my friends, if somebody's over 62, they can do a reverse mortgage loan now. And again, just like the HELOC, where the payments are tax deferred as opposed to the credit cards, which are just ordinary income. Again, on the reverse mortgage, somebody can go from making big payments to actually getting big payments or big money out for themselves on, again, a tax deferred basis.
That's right. And that's a great plan for certain seniors. And again, every loan isn't for everybody. You really have to analyze the situation and make sure this is something that would work for that particular, family, let's say. But in a lot of cases, when people are on a fixed income and they're making a mortgage payment, well, that's biting into the income that they generate, So if we do a reverse mortgage, provided there's equity in the property and so on and so forth, we can do a reverse. They have no mortgage payment, and they would have money left over if there's enough equity, and they can set that up in either in a one-time draw, or we can set it up where they pay themselves monthly, or they can just have an account that they can access like write a check, like a checking account, anytime they want. Now, what'll happen is they'll only lend at a small percentage of the value of the property, like depending on their age, 30, 40, 50%, depending on their age. So there's always a lot of equity in the property. So it never gets to the point where they're taking away the property from them or any of those, fallacies that used to exist. But the bottom line is that, for something like this, it's not a forward mortgage, it's a reverse mortgage. So the principal, gets added onto, so to speak, but it gets added on in a small way. And then they also have to take into consideration there's a lot of appreciation too on the property. So, for a lot of people, that's a great way to go.
It's a great way for the grandparents to pay for a college education.
Mm-hmm.
A great way for grandparents to help with the down payment on the home for somebody else. A great way for somebody to travel before they lose their ability to travel. There's all kinds of things that we're seeing people use, and of course, obviously, to pay down credit card debt, which could be eating them alive, pay off their cars, which today are also at a little bit of a higher interest rate. So there's all kinds of ways that we can help people use their home as a financial planning and investment tool. We're going to take a quick break here, talk a little bit about our friends at Warren Henry, and then we'll be right back with Ed to kind of wrap it up on the process of applying for a mortgage with American Home Finance. Mr. Mendoza, rock the house. Mr. Mendoza, you went out of town for some photos today. Pretty cool. I enjoyed that. I want to thank our sponsors and friends at Warren Henry Automotive. It's episode 750. We've been on for about 15 years at this point. Warren Henry's been a sponsor for 12 or 13 of those years. It all kind of comes together after a while. But we had a great show last week. We profiled Larry Zinn and the kindness that the folks at Warren Henry, the respect that they use. So remember, whenever you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry, Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and now Lincoln up in North Miami. Up in Gainesville, they've got their Audi store. Down in South Dade, they've got their award-winning Land Rover, Range Rover store. They opened up a new Land Rover, Range Rover store up over in Naples, where they also have other great cars that they sell. And, of course, down in the Keys, they sell them all. What do these cars have in common? Well, they're all great cars. They all come with the Warren Henry advantage. That means you get complimentary service loaner, key replacement if you lose those fancy keys, dent replacement. They'll polish up your wheels if you scrape them up. They'll guarantee that you're getting a great value on your trade-in, a great price on your leased car or your new car. And they'll give you 72 hours to exchange that car if you don't like it. Nobody does that. They all love their cars. Join me, my mom, my beautiful wife, Vivian. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry.
Hey, Jim, we want to congratulate you on reaching 750 shows.
You've been a tremendous resource for your growing audience for many years now because you provide real solutions to their financial problems.
And we appreciate having you as a big part of our American Home Finance team and look forward to the partnership lasting many, many more years. Jim, congratulations.
Go get him, buddy.
Jim.
I love those guys. It'll be on again in a couple of seconds. I want to remind everybody that I'm the founder of Sandstone Realty Advisors. I help people solve their problems and bring them peace of mind. I do that by listening and bringing them solutions. On the residential side, you hear what we're doing today. On the private equity side, we're doing all kinds of interesting things. You'll hit our website. On the commercial real estate side, we just had a significant phone call today about some retail transactions we're working on, both anchored and triple net. And of course, we've got a very strong practice in multifamily land and creative transaction financing. Reach out to me, DM me. We're doing all kinds of things from these residential loans to large fundraising transactions. Remember, whenever you call me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
All right, we're on with Ed Cairo from American Home Finance. Ed holds my NMLS license and has been an expert in this field for decades. I take my deals to Ed, and Ed and I work on them together. Mr. Mendoza. There he is. Hey, Eddie.
Hello.
So Ed and I we're working currently on HELOCs, reverse mortgages, redevelopment loans, first mortgages for people who want to buy. Ed, let's talk about that for a minute. People who want to buy something today and they want to get a mortgage and they're looking and they're crying that it's not 3.5%. They don't have a real understanding of the historic perspective that interest rates are still pretty low.
Right. Exactly right. And, historically, the rates have been 6-7%. They got a little teased with this 2.5% and 3%, but that's not really reality. I mean, the good thing is the rates have been coming down of late. So we're seeing a lot more action on the purchase side, and they're talking about possibly lowering it down through the rest of the year. People are ready. People need, there are people that need to have properties one way or the other. They have to live somewhere, So, it's a good time to buy right now.
Anybody who thinks they're getting a high mortgage just has to look at it when it was 20% when I graduated college, and people still bought homes.
Yeah.
They just would refi every 5 years as the rates dropped. So there's always a strategy.
Right.
One of the things that Ed and I do is we act sort of as like financial advisors for folks in this sector. Now, Ed, we talked about the reason to get a HELOC. Reason to get a HELOC is pull money out, have a tax treatment on the payments rather than making it ordinary expenses and income. We talked about the reverse mortgage, pulling stuff out again with good positive tax treatment. We talked about the rehab loans so we can help people get a redevelopment loan. Let's talk about how people apply. Ed, they go to these banks. The banks just drive them crazy. It's really difficult, and then they never get anywhere. They end up calling us anyway. So how does somebody apply with American Home Finance?
Basically, they just go right to our website, www.amhomefin.com, like American Home Finance.
There it is. Thank you, Mr. Mendoza.
They go to the website, they fill out an application, and that's it.
Hold on. It's on the top of the website. They land and it says, click here to fill out an application.
Correct.
The button next to it says, click here to upload your documents.
That too. Yep. So
it's extremely easy.
Yep. They can basically it's a one-stop shop, so to speak, and they can, fill out the app, upload the documents needed, and then we'll take over from there. And a lot of these equity lines, we're getting done in 3 to 5 days, which is really good. The key to this year is, coming out into 2024, get rid of debt. Get rid of your debt. And that's the thing that we've been touting to a lot of our clients. And I'll tell you what, people are responding, they're listening. And if we can drop their interest from 24% down to, let's say, 10% or whatever, they can double up on their payments and get out of debt as fast as possible, which I think is going to be really good for the coming year.
I think it's extraordinarily important. In business school, we called it evaluating the marginal cost of capital, the capital at the far margin. If you're paying 20 to 28% on your last dollar of debt, and you can reduce that to 10% and pay it off twice as fast, it's a no-brainer. No-brainer. So again, Ed, if people want to get a hold of you and want to fill out an app, Mr. Mendoza, that's your cue. There it is.
There you go.
All they have to do is go to that spot and click it and let me know that it's there. And you and I will work on it, and we'll work together. Treat them with kindness and care and respect, because this is an extraordinarily stressful situation. It's complex for people that don't deal with it every day. And a lot of people don't think they're financeable because their bank told them that they're too complicated. Excuse me. We specialize in complicated. Ed, please take over because I got to have a drink.
That's fine. That's our best client, because, the banks are order takers and they look quickly and they say yes or no. That's not what we do. We dive in. We help families. We'll help families in the future done a ton of people over the years. I'm doing their children now, for financing. These are all important factors. And there are times that people can't do a loan right now. Well, the key is to explain to them why and what they need to do in the future to be able to do it. But the key would be really is to get rid of that debt. That's really what we're striving for today.
Ed, I want to thank you. Please stick with us for a second in the green room. Ed is the pure example of what I say when you call me, it's always all about you. That's the exact way that Ed and the Mortgage Brothers, who you saw earlier, work together. And again, thank you so much, Ed. That was beautiful. I really appreciate that. This is Jim Freed for Freed on Business. Join us every Wednesday at noon. We drop a new podcast every Wednesday at noon. This week we did residential home finance. Next week, I'm going to tease it a little bit. We've got a tremendous program where we're going to profile one of the great families of real estate here in South Florida. You're going to find it really interesting. It's kind of my historical perspective on real estate in South Florida. It's going to be great. We've been working on getting it set up for months. So we'll be on next week at noon. I want to thank our sponsors, Warren Henry Automotive and the Bergstrom Center for Real Estate Studies. I'm going to the Bergstrom Center for Real Estate Studies annual event in a couple of weeks. It's going to be tremendous. I'm looking forward to seeing all my friends up there and all the young people that I work with and mentor, and some of the people I do business with, of course. Mr. Mendoza, thanks for the logo. Here it is back at you. Give me a call, DM me, because I help people with all kinds of real estate transactions. When you call me, it's always all about you, residential, commercial, private equity. I've got contacts. I'm doing deals in all those different sectors. My gosh, so that's about it. We'll be on again next week. Why? Because I just absolutely love doing this. And here it goes. Remember, the person who wants to do something finds a way. The other finds an excuse. Now go out there and make it happen. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Thanks again to Warren Henry Automotive and Mr. Mendoza. It's yours.